Did that hurt?
I mean, yeah. yeah. People thought I was joking. I wasn't. I wasn't joking. Yeah, next time I won't go out the entire week before.
There is a next time? Are we going to see you in the ring again?
For sure, I can't go out like that. It's crazy. So before I was in crypto, I was a software engineer. I was a full stack developer, actually at Capital One. So before that, I studied comp sci and minored in business at Georgia Tech. I had an emerging technologies class at Georgia Tech as part of my minor, and that was my intro to crypto. So that was like 2016, and that's when I learned about what Bitcoin was, like why it was important. Didn't buy any in 2016. Then I graduated from Georgia Tech in 2017, and when I graduated, I was working as a software engineer, and then on the side, I was just trading crypto. So my mentor at my job was a big crypto guy, BitMEX, Bittrex, all that stuff. He was like, yo, you're smart, you should learn how to trade, in addition to doing all this software engineering stuff. So that's when I started trading, and basically been trading crypto since 2017. Made some money first cycle, lost some money, and stayed around, was active on crypto Twitter, learned a lot from all the older guys like Kobe, Loomdart, TraderMain, all those people. And then COVID cycle happened and markets just went crazy, and I was still trading then. Did pretty well that cycle, and then went full-time crypto in 2021. And I've basically been full-time crypto since then. I worked as like head of research at TCG Crypto for a little bit, and now just doing my own thing.
Was there a single moment, aside from figuring out what Bitcoin was in university, that you thought, that's it, that's what I want to do full-time? I'm going to eventually gear my career choices towards that? No,
not really. Definitely not in school. My plan when graduating was actually just like to do the software engineering thing. Like I'm doing software engineering, plan to do that and like do well with that because I was good at that. But then as I got like more active in crypto, just like more active in this space, I kind of like took like into it more. And I really just like trading. Like I like trading more than I liked coding. So that's really how that shift happened.
Is it because one's a lot more profitable than the other one, or is it, the anxiety? Or
no, it's a combination of things. I like in trading, it's like you immediately pay yourself out. Like if you're right, you immediately get paid. If you're wrong, you immediately lose money. Whereas with like in a career or whatever, it's like you're working a set amount of hours, and then like whenever you finish your project, you get some excitement, I guess, through there. But it's different in trading. It's just like boom, 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 boom. It's constant.
So you became a bit of a boxing legend in the industry recently. We're going to get on that. Yeah. Before we dive into your short boxing career, yeah. What has your favorite moment of being an influencer in the crypto industry so far been?
My favorite moment is definitely like all the people that are excited and like have tailed my trades and made money. People come up to me like, yo, you made me this much money, you made me this much, you made me a millionaire. People are just like really grateful, honestly, like they say, dude, like you changed my life, literally. That's the coolest part for me, especially the people that have been following me for like years. And so I'm literally posting charts to like 2 likes, 3 likes in 2017, 2018. It's just I'm posting all my ideas and stuff. Then my trade journal in 2020 literally had a private page, probably like 100 people on it. And I was posting every single trade, like every week. I was posting all my trades, all my trade ideas, all my theses, and just posting. And they saw I was literally posting the entire, like I didn't miss any time. I was just missing, just constant with it throughout the whole cycle. So people that saw that, they see that like I actually did the work to get to where I'm at now. And a lot of people that are like on the tail end of it don't really see all that. So that's the coolest part for me is just like seeing that I actually did like impact people.
What's your least favorite part of the industry?
My least favorite part? It's kind of in the same vein. It's like, so I have close to 400,000 followers now. The issue with that is there's always going to be some people who are mad at you, regardless of what you do. There's going to be somebody who lost money or oversized on some trade or like misinterpreted what you said, or just like have a problem with you just because you think you're a big account. So that's probably like my least favorite part. That's just like dealing with that on a daily basis. I get like crazy DMs sometimes, like on different platforms and everything. But it's nothing like too crazy. I would say that the positives outweigh the negatives a ton.
Before we dive into some very specific Solana-related questions, let's start with a really easy one. Why are we here in Istanbul?
Solana Crossroads.
What is it? What are we doing here?
Here for the Solana Crossroads, the conference. So Step Finance team, I think they've done a great job like putting together this event. I've been to Breakpoint before, but I've never been to Solana Crossroads. And I think like the in-person events where it's like developers, traders, community members, just people who are interested in the space all come together in the same place and get to learn from each other all at the same time. The in-person events are really important for crypto because we are an overly online community and we're still early. So it's like seeing people that you interact with online, like in person, is really important for building those connections. And I was saying on stage, like one of the reasons I had such strong conviction in Solana last year, even when a lot of people didn't, was because I was at Breakpoint in Lisbon in 2022, right before FTX happened. And I talked to all those founders, talked to traders, talked to people active in the ecosystem, and I knew that SBF was not a big like piece of why they were building on Solana, and I also knew that people had a ton of conviction in the chain. And you really only see that from in-person conversations. You can't really get that from online interaction with people. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you actually, what were you discussing on stage? Was it the ups and downs of Solana, or what was the main gist of it?
We were discussing how to onboard the next billion users and like what that looks like, kind of how far we are in that process, what applications are going to do that, and like how can we help people get there, and then like why is it important for us to get there.
Mm-hmm. On your comment about the next billion users, we did an interview with, I believe he's a founder, and this was in Denver, and his argument is that the next billion users probably aren't going to be people, but they're going to be AI agents transacting on-chain. Do you have an opinion on that?
I mean, no, I think it'll be people. I mean, I think it'll obviously be a combination. I think AI is going to be interwoven into everything that we do moving forward. But I still think people are going to be active on chain. I don't think everybody's going to be just AI agents interacting.
Do you think people generally think that way as well at Solana Crossroads?
I think people underestimate how much of an impact AI is going to have, not only in like just generally, but in crypto. Yeah, I do think people have an underestimation of that. But I would say the general thinking is probably that it's like people, the next billion.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of underestimation, did people underestimate your boxing abilities?
No, they did. No, they did not. No, they did not. People were like kind of joking with me going up to it. They thought I was joking when I was like, yeah, I'm not really training all that much. They're like, oh, he really was serious. Like, I'm tweeting during the week, yeah, I'm out till 7 a.m. first day. Second day, I'm out till 6 a.m. Third day, out till whatever a.m. People thought I was joking. I wasn't. I wasn't joking. Yeah, next time I won't go out the entire week before.
There is a next time? Are we going to see you in the ring again?
For sure, I can't go out like that. It's
all
crazy.
Right, that's good to hear. We're gonna be watching. I want to go back to the early days of Solana. Can you describe, looking back, how you feel about the sort of the genesis and the early development of the Solana ecosystem? And what do you think some of the sort of major challenges and the ups and downs, you talked about some of them, what do you think the major milestones were?
Yeah, I would say I've seen Solana at its lowest, highest, lowest, like close to some in between now. I think that one of the biggest milestones for Solana was, I would say the first thing is establishing community, and that was in 2021. So Solana did a really good job of establishing community early on, like that whole run up from what was like $1.50 to like 260 or whatever it was. In that time period, they did a great job of onboarding developers to the ecosystem, like onboarding people like through communities, NFTs and everything else, building that online presence, building that in-person presence. They did a really good job of building the community there, and that community was the reason that when stuff got bad, there were still people that had conviction in Solana long term. And I'll say the second thing is like the pace of development on Solana is crazy, I think, compared to other L1s. Like in 2022, there was a period when the chain was literally unusable for people. And they had to fix a ton of that to make sure people would be able to use the chain moving forward. And that took a lot of time, but I think like only like a few months, I think during 2022 was when they got like all those fixes through. And then when 2023 came around, people were still in their heads thinking, oh, Solana doesn't work. But they weren't paying attention to all the dev updates that had happened and all the work that had been done behind the scenes. So I think that's like the two biggest things I definitely would say. And still like the speed of innovation is crazy. Like whenever something happens, it's like they're on it very fast.
Why is Solana unique in that sense? You're talking about the community, I fully agree with you. But within the demographic, or let's say within the developer community, what has made Solana unique?
That's a good question. I honestly do not know all of the other developer communities all that well to do a comparative analysis on it. But from my point of view, it seems like it's very top down. Like Anatoly leads very much, very directly in how he thinks about developing on Solana. Must do things fast, break things, and then fix them. And it's like if it breaks, okay, cool, we'll fix it, we'll figure it out. He's very forward thinking in that way. I think it's kind of the same thought process he has around hardware on Solana. He's we want to use the most out of this hardware that we can. We're not really concerned with doing the opposite. I think it's really forward thinking.
Mm-hmm. Is that a fundamental sort of differentiator for Solana then, do you think, in terms of let's break it such that we can fix it, such that it improves, let's innovate constantly?
Yeah, definitely.
Going back again to the early days, the term ETH killer used to be thrown around quite a bit, maybe a bit too willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Do you feel that Solana still has that title of being an ETH killer? Do they need that title?
No, I don't think Solana is an ETH killer. I honestly think they're trying to do two very different things. It's not even really a good comparison, because what Solana is trying to do is be an integrated L1, which is execution, consensus, settlement all happen on Solana on the L1, whereas Ethereum is really pushing all of the execution off to these L2s and these rollups. So Ethereum's focus is different from Solana. They just want to be the most secure, most safe settlement layer, and then all of the rollups are kind of that thinking of, let's break things fast, let's do things as fast as possible, and let's use alternative VMs versus the EVM. All of that innovation kind of happens on rollups. Whereas with Solana, it's everything is on the L1. So they're not even really comparable. ETH doesn't want to have a ton of activity on its L1 anyway. It's not trying to do the same thing Solana is doing. I think a better comparison is Ethereum to stuff like Dimension, Initia, projects like those. And then Solana is probably more comparable to stuff like Monad, Say, Aptos, Sui, those type of L1s.
And the early days of Solana, how would you think of the early adopters of Solana then? Were they people that had a different use case or different requirements than people that were using ETH?
I don't think so. I mean, I was around after DeFi summer, and all the people who were active on testing out new protocols were basically the degens. All the degen traders who were active on chain, playing around with the Yearn, Compound, Aave. A lot of those same people, I think, well, not all the same people, but a lot of those people with that same thought process were the ones active early on Radium, on Solid when it was just the web wallet before Phantom and Backpack and all those, before Metaplex even existed. I think it's really the degens in crypto lead a lot of the first testing of all these protocols. And it's that pretty consistently. And then I think retail was big on Solana in 2021 because of NFTs. That was a big thing for Solana, which is why I was kind of surprised that people expected DEX trading volumes to remain so low on Solana last year. In 2023, it was very common for people to say, yeah, there's no trading volume on Solana. It's never going to go up, never going to be close to Ethereum. And people would say Ethereum is the place for memes and alts to be traded because meme coins can do well on ETH because once the fees are high, nobody wants to sell. And I'm that doesn't make sense. The same reason that Solana was big on NFTs is going to be the same reason that Solana is a great user experience for trading. Anybody can trade on Solana with very low costs, and it's very fast. So that was my whole thesis in 2023. I'm whenever people realize that, everything's going to skyrocket, and that's what's happening currently.
What changed then? What brought all this trade volume to Solana?
Activity? Well, in crypto, price leads a lot. So it was sideways between $15 and $30 in that range for 9-10 months. And there are a ton of people, smart institutional money, smart retail traders who were just bidding in that range. And then eventually when there was more demand than supply and it broke out above 30, there was a ton of active people who were oh, now I need to pay attention to Solana. And then when people started actually bridging over to Solana, oh, what am I going to buy? Then Bonk went from 30 million to whatever it is now, $1 billion. And then people were okay, we can buy alts on Solana now. There's a proof of concept. Bonk just went crazy. Okay, what else are we going to do? And then that's when all the memes started popping up. A lot of people started launching their tokens. I think Jito was big the airdrop for Jito was really, really big for people because that was a wealth effect similar to what happened with Uniswap on ETH. And all those people who got the Uniswap airdrop were like, oh, now I have $1,000 to play around on chain with. And it was the same thing for Jito, but it was even more substantial because there was not as many users as there was on Ether that were active on Solana using Jito. Now, I was telling people all of last year, it's like you're not competing with a ton of people now because it's not consensus that Solana is going to do well. So yeah, Jito airdrop, a few Jupiter airdrop, there are a few other airdrops that did well, and then just literally all the memes just popped off immediately as Solana was going up.
Was that frustrating to you to say, like, I've been saying this the whole time?
No, it wasn't frustrating because I was proven right. It really wasn't because people were like, yeah, he's been saying this for months now. We've been listening to you nonstop. Like, we believe you. Okay, we believe you.
That's good.
Yeah.
You mentioned FTX. I want to go back to that briefly.
Yeah.
What do you think the impact of FTX collapsing was on Solana, and how did the community respond?
Yeah, I mean, publicly it has a huge impact. Like, everybody associated SBF as a scammer. FTX was the worst, and he was the biggest proponent of Solana that entire last cycle. It's like, okay, Solana's a scam. Like, that's literally was just the connection that people made. I think it had a really, really big impact during that whole, like, last year of 2023. Nobody even wanted to buy Solana. Like, oh, that's dead. That's next. That's EOS, whatever else, other L1 that died. But then I think it didn't have an impact on people who really had conviction in Solana. And that's the most important part. Like, the developers, founders, everybody who'd raised in the ecosystem and had been building in the ecosystem, even pre-token, like a lot of those protocols didn't even have tokens out yet. It didn't waver their conviction, and it didn't waver a lot of the early Solana, I think, retail community that was active. It didn't change their conviction either. A lot of people who were active in NFTs in 2021 stayed active. A lot of people who were like the first users of Radium, Solid, all those, like Samo, those early coins, they were still active. So just like it didn't change the perception for them, but to the outside world, it changed a lot of perception. And it's still like right now being changed back to, oh, like Solana's a valid chain for people to build on. So that's like still shifting, but it definitely had an impact at the time, like a huge impact.
It had a massive impact on the price as well.
Yeah,
right?
it went from $40. I remember I was at Lisbon, I was at Breakpoint, and Solana had it was June 2022 was when 3AC and 3AC I think blew up because of Luna. Like, the Luna crash was May 2022, then June was like the after effects of that. Luna broke a ton of stuff. But I remember the second low that all the majors made in June, Solana didn't make a lower low. Ethereum and Bitcoin made lower lows comparably to the Terra crash, but Solana didn't. I was like, okay, well, we're good. It's already bottom. There's nobody left to capitulate and sell here. And I was at Breakpoint in, I think it was September or October of 2022. And the energy there was great. Like, everybody was super excited about the future of crypto. Founders were super excited. Community was super excited. There were a ton of really good announcements made there. Like, I think the Google Cloud partnership was announced there. And price was rallying. I think we were around like $40. And then we get on a plane, go back to the US. And literally while we're on the plane is when FTX crashed. And it went from $40 to $8 in like a week. It went down like 80%.
Did that hurt?
I mean, yeah. I was holding Solana then. I think everybody was holding Solana was like erect. I luckily didn't have funds on FTX, but yeah, everybody was holding Sol. Was like, dude, what? Like, immediately, you couldn't unless you like sold before, like before anything happened, you didn't really have a chance like to get out there seriously. Yeah.
Speaking of getting wrecked, talk to me about your journey of getting into boxing. How did that start?
Yeah, boxing. I honestly was just out. Like, so I was out. I was at a club. I was like drinking with my boys, my friends and stuff. And I'm scrolling through Twitter. And like as I do on crypto Twitter, I'm just like tweeting whatever nonstop. And I scroll on the timeline and I saw Barney. Barney was tweeting like, "Yo, nobody wants to fight me for fight night, like whatever, just talking about fight night." And I replied, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll fight you. Like, what's the weight? Like 200? Like, cool, okay, I'll fight you." And everybody's like, "Wait, what? Like, what do you mean?" Rookie, who like helps run Crypto Fight Night, DM me, was like, "Yo, are you serious?" And then everybody else DM me like, "Yo, you for real?" And I woke up the next day and I have all these DMs. I'm like, I'm do it. Yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, well, I need to get a trainer. So then I got a trainer and started like training, but I wasn't on it every day as I should have been for sure. I think that was like, I had a couple months, but
It was a fun experience overall.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun. I'll definitely do it again.
All right. And do you think there's any parallels between your sort of foray into boxing and Solana's ups and downs? And
I guess we'll see. We only had episode 1 of boxing, so we haven't had multiple episodes. I guess we'll see if it's down and up or down and down or down, up and down. I don't know.
Do you think it was Solana's technology focus or the fact that it was led by a really technical founder like Anatoly, or the community or the founders that had conviction, or a combination of those that really allowed Solana to sort of fix itself after that crisis?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of things. I would say in crypto, like distribution and attention is just as important as the tech is, because if you have you can have great tech and no community. And if you have great tech and no community, that's almost worse than having great community and no tech. Because even if the stuff doesn't work, if you have a community of people that think it works, they're not going to sell anyway. So it's like, it's honestly a worse situation. But yeah, it was definitely a combination. Like the reason that if you look at Solana metrics compared to ETH now, like Solana's doing as much MEV as ETH is right now. So in comparable DEX volumes as ETH is right now. There's equal amount of daily active users on Solana as there is on ETH. A ton of the other metrics objectively are on par with Ethereum. And the only reason that can exist is because of the tech behind the scenes. So like you can do fees that are 100x lower than Ethereum, but you also have 100x amount of activity, which is why they're like kind of comparable in how much the chain is making or profiting. But that only works if the tech works. You can have the community, but you can only do that if the tech works.
Zooming out to all the layer ones then, what makes Solana really unique in your eyes?
Was honestly partly luck because of when it came to market. So when it came to market in 2019 or 2020, the all L1 thesis was super weak because the prior cycle when ETH did okay with the ICOs, all L1s that were like zero, there was nothing that really got built on them. So there was no proof that like an L1 could be able to compete with ETH long term. And that's when Solana came out. And then you had DeFi summer, which happened in mid 2020. So ETH was kind of like the champion that cycle. People saw like these apps are real. This is stuff that people can use. Like there's money being deposited on chain, like in hundreds of millions of dollars for the first time. Okay, this makes sense. So ETH is the one. And when Solana came out, there was nobody thinking like, oh, there's going to be other L1s that are doing the same thing ETH is doing. So it was partly that because it was able to trade in market, I think around like 100, 200 mil for a long time. And like all that allowed retail to get a really low entry on Solana. And that's another part of the reason that the community of Solana is so strong. Whereas now, all these L1s, they could be kind of like on equal playing field tech-wise with Solana, but they're coming out at like $5 billion valuation or like whatever, like $7 billion valuation. And so you just have like people who are in from 50x, not 50x, like or whatever, 10x lower, comparably. And so it's just a lot harder to build community starting at that point. It just takes time. I think a lot of these other L1s don't have that time aspect yet of like the community forming. Yeah.
What does the acronym OPOS stand for?
Only possible on Solana.
What does that mean?
I think it was a really good slogan that like the marketing team at Solana came out with this past cycle during 2023. A lot of people, I think it originated on Twitter, but essentially what it means is like there are things you can do on Solana that you can't do on ETH and other L1s. So like any application that requires a ton of throughput, you can't do on ETH because ETH only does 15 transactions per second. So anything that you need like really heavy loaded transactions, you can't do on ETH, only possible on Solana. In the same way that like anybody can like dollar cost average into meme coins, $1 a pop, basically for free, you can't do that on ETH because when activity spikes, it's really expensive to transact on chain. So again, only possible on Solana. I think it's kind of a slogan for what's possible to build on the chain, and also the user experience is way better on Solana than other chains.
Zooming out to the markets generally, I want to get your opinion on a few things in the industry. What are some of the trends and narratives that you think are really hot, and what are some that you think are really overhyped?
I think some of the trends that are super hot right now, obviously meme coins. I think memes have been a great vehicle for onboarding retail this cycle in the same way that NFTs were last cycle. Like, it's really easy for somebody to understand, okay, dog with hat, or Pepe, or frog, or this cat, dog, whatever. I think the memes have existed on the internet for a really long time, and crypto kind of allows an easy way to financialize all those, and then people can interact with them. And then once these people have wallets, like, oh, I'm holding WIF, all these other people are holding WIF, now I'm part of this WIF community. Okay, but now I'm in crypto. Like, what other apps do I need to use in crypto? I think memes have done a really good job of kind of like, it's like a Trojan horse for getting people into all the ecosystems. That's been really big. I mean, it's hot leading the market for a while now, past like 6 months. I think AI is going to be really interesting this cycle. Early 2023, a lot of the like AI coins popped off hard when ChatGPT dropped, which was like crazy. People were like, oh, AI, what can I buy? It's AI in crypto. And all the AI coins just immediately ripped. But there's a lot of like really cool applications, I think, that are going to be built there. Whether it's like the decentralized compute applications, where it's like artificial intelligence takes a ton of GPU power to run their models, train their models. And crypto, you kind of can align incentives with a ton of people globally to use their spare GPU power to do that and train these models. And then I think the other piece of it that's really interesting is going to be the AI agents. So AI agents meaning like these autonomous agents that can do work for you, transacting on chain, interacting with protocols, doing all these other things in crypto that you typically would be doing manually. So if you have like a smart agent that's able to take trades for you, find the best yield in crypto across multiple different blockchains, that's super powerful. And I think a lot of people are working on implementing protocols like that. What's overhyped? Honestly, I think EVM L2s are overhyped. That's my biggest thing. And the reason I say that is because if you're going to push execution off of Ethereum to these rollups, the only reason you're doing that is because you want them to be a lot more performant, a lot faster than the default Ethereum L1 is. And if you just use the EVM again, it doesn't really make all that much sense. Like, you don't have the issues with state bloat and some other things, but I think it makes a ton more sense to do like alternative VM structures in that way. Like what's a good one? Like Arbitrum, I think, is working on Stylus, which is going to have like alt VMs. Like Movement is working on their Move VM rollup. There's a ton of different rollups kind of working on that. But yeah, I think like pure EVM rollups don't really make all that much sense. I'll say that's overhyped.
We interviewed an L1 founder not too long ago, and he made a statement that was, I guess, quite spicy. He said there's no shortage of trash L2s.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them trash, but yeah, I would say like that kind of got overfunded. But the reason it got overfunded is because everybody's just like, Ethereum's the only L1. Okay, what can we fund that attaches to that narrative? L2s. So a ton of L2s just got funded, and that's how that happened.
Do you think we're going to see more or fewer L2s in the near future?
I definitely think fewer. I think in the same way that we've kind of like found, so like once Solana did well in like one, right, there was a ton of L1s that popped off after that. In the same way, like L2s now, there's a ton of L2s right now, but I think you're going to find a few of them that are going to be winners long term. And then after that, you're going to be like, okay, I don't really need more of these. I may have like application-specific rollups that use some shared like SDK or whatever. That's why I actually think Sovereign Labs is pretty cool, because I think once somebody figures out the best way to have an SDK that anybody can build a rollup and it's performing out of the gate, you're not going to have a ton more innovation in that regard, because you're just going to use that SDK. Same way that you kind of have, I don't know if you really have winners in the L1 race yet, but Solana is, I think, ahead of a lot of the other L1s. I think you're going to have a few that do really well, and then the rest are just going to be like, why do we need these?
I want to get back to L2s in just a moment, but I thought of a question that I wanted to ask you. In the AI space, you mentioned that a large amount of capital flowed into the AI space after the ChatGPT news. Mm-hmm. Where is the most upside in the intersection of AI and blockchain?
Man, that's like a 100x, 1000x question, bro. The most upside? I honestly don't know yet, but that's the question that I'm currently trying to answer. I have the L1 down. I know Solana is the leader for the cycle in that. Memes I got down. Like, I know like how to evaluate memes, which ones I think are going to do well. But AI is a lot tougher to evaluate. Like, I think you need to see these protocols actually in action, and how they're building meaningful things in crypto. And I honestly have not really seen any protocols yet where it's like, yeah, I know that's the one. I know this one makes the most sense. I know that's the winner that's going to 100x. But I do think there's definitely going to be some AI x crypto plays that hit like 100 billion this cycle.
Do they already exist, or are we talking about new projects that we should be looking out for?
I mean, I'll give a few. Like, I think that aren't out yet. I think Nillian's cool. Ritual, I think, is cool. Jensen, I think, is cool. Yeah, there's a few different AI plays, I think, that aren't out yet.
This is all NFA, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, they're out. People know they exist. And they're coming.
Very briefly, back to L2s then. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin L2s?
I think that, I don't know. I think ordinals make a ton of sense on Bitcoin. The reason I think they make a ton of sense is because with NFTs, provenance is really big, and ordinals on Bitcoin are inscribed literally like directly into the Bitcoin blocks. So I think the most, like the biggest ordinal collections, I think are going to do really well. I'm not as certain on if Bitcoin L2s make as much sense for DeFi and everything else. And the reason I say that is because you kind of run into the same issue that you have with Ethereum L2s, where it's like these L2s need to have a substantial increase in UX from whatever you're doing on Bitcoin currently. So like if it's just another EVM L2 of Bitcoin, I'm not really that excited about that. And I'm not sure how they actually are like going to work in practice when people start using them.
So clearly Solana is your favorite ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
What would it take for another ecosystem to come close to being at the same level of Solana as you sort of see Solana at?
Yeah, I mean, I like Base a lot, actually. The Base L2, Coinbase is L2. That's probably my second favorite ecosystem. The reason it's my second favorite ecosystem is because of how much mindshare they have in the US with crypto and how many customers they already have on Coinbase. Coinbase has like, I want to say 80 million or something users on their centralized exchange. So it's like, if you have Base, which is a roll-up connected to that, and you figure out a way to get even, like 10% of those users directly on chain, you immediately have 10 million people ready to use whatever applications are on chain. And there's not a lot of applications in crypto that have 10 million daily active users, really, like at all. So I think they have a super big first mover advantage there with like already having users. And now it's just like the tech side of things, whereas like Base is EVM roll-up. So they kind of have issues where they're not going to be able to compete with Solana and like throughput, fees, all of that, but they need to work on that, I think, before they'll really be close to competing with Solana in that regard.
And what's your favorite application within the Solana ecosystem then?
Favorite application?
Whether it's to use, whether it's to talk about. I hear some whispers.
Honestly, I mean, the application I use the most is Jupiter, like Jupiter for trading and everything else. I think the application that is like probably the most underrated, I think, is Drip. So Drip is really cool. It's like an NFT platform where digital artists can put out their work. People get dripped, like NFTs from all their favorite artists that they subscribe to, and then immediately when that artwork is dropped, it's listed on I think Tensor. I think it's listed on Tensor and then available to trade. But there's a lot of cool things you can do with content on Drip, and it's also one of the best applications for like user retention. Like people come back and use that app on a consistent basis without even needing really to speculate on anything. So I think it was probably the two. Yeah.
In the near future, do you see any of these sort of blockchains or ecosystems outcompeting each other? Do you see one swallowing or eliminating another one?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the L1s just aren't going to be successful. The same way that I think a lot of the L2s just aren't going to be successful. I think you're going to have a few winners in L1s and a few winners in L2s that win the race to like getting people to build on chain, get in the community, and then even if you have kind of like equal playing field tech-wise, it's like everybody's already on this chain. Why would I move to something else? And I think they went out in that way. But I think we're super early, so like I'm hesitant to be like, yeah, this is the winner for the next 20 years. Because I think crypto's going to be around for a really long time.
But this shakeout or potential shakeout that you're describing is something that gives a lot of people a lot of anxiety, right? People that sort of spread their capital across a bunch of chains.
Yeah.
And like, I know a lot of people would like to hear you say, maybe don't leave too much of your money in that basket. So do you have any sort of tips for people as to where to spread their capital?
I mean, Solana and Base are my main two ecosystems. Like that's where a lot of my money is. Like I've pretty active on like FriendTech on Base. I use like I think FriendPet's another cool active like application on Base. Farcast is another cool application on Base.
You think SocialFi is gonna stick around?
Yeah, for sure. I think SocialFi is interesting, just because of how much of a trend there's been with like influencers and content creators in Web 2. That's a big thing now. People trust these individuals a lot more than they trust these companies, and a lot of these influencers are making a ton of money from ads and everything else in Web 2. But crypto, like the financial incentives, at least currently, are even stronger than they are in Web 2. Like the top FinTech people made like 300, 400K plus off fees and everything else. The top like creators like on Twitter, you don't even make close to as much, like comparably. Just because of how capital is kind of distributed right now in crypto and how early the space is, there's not as much users present, and there's like a lot more capital, I think, invested that gets distributed to a smaller bucket of people right now. But yeah, I definitely think SocialFi is going to be around for a long time.
And on that social note, if you were to sort of look back over your journey of coming from a tech background and becoming an influencer in the crypto industry, what advice would you give somebody that wants to follow a similar trajectory?
Yeah, my trajectory is kind of crazy. I've gone developer, trader, now influencer, creator. I would say
boxer.
Yeah, boxer,
future racer.
Yeah, I'm doing everything. But I would say for whatever you want to do in crypto, like that you're passionate about, crypto is a space where you don't need any credentials to get to where you're at. Like if you prove yourself to other people, you do the right things in public, people see what you're doing, you're going to earn whatever it is, like regardless of where you came from or your background or anything else. So I would say that's the biggest thing. It's like you can have that mindset where anything is possible really in crypto. But if you want to be a really good trader, you need to be active in looking at past cycles, like studying charts, talking to people who have been around for a while and how they look at the market, and then kind of like looking at past industries and how those work, and like how early stages of when industries form, how those work. And yeah, just literally practicing a ton. If you want to be a really good trader, you just have to practice a ton. You're gonna have to lose money first before you get good at being a trader. I don't really have any tips on the influencer content creation stuff. It just kind of just happened. I don't really know.
So let's move on to Bullpen. What exactly are you building there, and what are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah, Bullpen. I'm co-founder of Bullpen. It's essentially a social trading platform. What we're really focusing on is having a place for whether you know a lot about crypto, know nothing about crypto, you can come into Bullpen, get your discovery, learn about whatever is trending in the market, what traders are talking about, what's going on in the space, get your news and everything there in the same place that you can trade all these altcoins. So it's like, I want a one-click trade like WIF. I want a one-click trade like PopCat. I want a one-click trade anything. You can do that in the app in the same place that you get all of your alpha from. And the way that we're doing that, we have a crypto-specific LLM that's learning on a ton of different Telegram chats where all these traders are active and present. And then from all those channels, we're pulling out all the most relevant information, what people are talking about the most, and then from other like trending things on chain and metrics like that, basically giving people, okay, this is what's trending today. This is what people are talking about. This is the alpha today. It's like what's going on in the market. Giving that to people in the feed and then letting them trade whatever they're interested in from there.
Is this the kind of tool that would be a lot more powerful when it reaches sort of critical mass and the more people are using it?
Exactly. So that's one of the biggest things. Like distribution is super big for us. We want to get this in the hands of as many people as possible and as many chats as possible. And then, yeah, the more people that are using the app, the better the LM is and like the better information you're going to get back from people. So yeah, that's definitely the key.
All right. Was the starting idea then, I have a problem with getting information and then actually executing on that information. I'm going to solve this problem for myself. And then you created the project?
Well, it's like I've been in crypto for a really long time. And one of my biggest things is like all my friends ask me, okay, Z, I know you do crypto. How do I learn about crypto? And whenever that question happens, I got to be like, I'm going to pull this article from this. I'm going to pull this article from this. I'm going to talk to you for an hour. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to set you up with a wallet. Then I'm going to like show you how to trade on Coinbase. And after I show you how to trade on Coinbase, I'm going to show you how to trade on the DEX. And after I show you how to trade on the DEX, I'm gonna show you how to trade on this DEX. And it's like all these different steps you gotta take. There's no place where you can just be like, use this. Like just download this, use this. You can do whatever you need all in one place. And that's kind of where the idea came from. It's like, I need something I can give to people and just be like, yo, use this and you're good. You'll be straight. Because especially now, I can't even reply to all my DMs. I have too many people asking me for help with stuff now. Before, I used to reply to every single DM. I could talk to every single person that wanted like an answer from me. Now I can't because there's just too many people. So I need a product that I can give to people and put in their hands where I can be like, yo, this is how you interact with crypto and trade.
So you're abstracting a large amount of the friction and the technology away from it.
Yeah.
Do you expect more projects to emerge like that within Solana and
I definitely think so. I think like one of the biggest verticals of the past year that kind of popped out of nowhere was like the Telegram bots, like the Unibot, like BonkBot, all those bots. And the reason they did so well is because even crypto's like native people wanted something where they didn't need to go to all these different places to trade. There's like, yo, give me something where I can one click trade this, one click buy, sell this. And it's even more so that for people who aren't in crypto. So right now, I think a lot of those bots have like whatever 20K or like the bigger ones have like 30K daily actives. But in my head, it's like that should be millions of people using these applications. And that's what I think it's going to be in the next few years. That's like one of the reasons building Bullpen.
So one thing we hear a lot in crypto is that everyone's dream is to make it. Do you think you've made it?
That's a good question. Do I think
you got to win a fight first?
Yeah, I got to win a fight first, for sure, before I say I've made it. I've made it to me because I'm doing things that I love to do, and I'm not worried about like whether the market is up or down tomorrow, up or down like the next couple of years or so. Like I'll be good regardless in that way. And I have a ton of different. Right now I have like access to a ton of different things, a ton of different people. Whereas like if I want to do trading, I can do that. If I want to do angel investing, I can do that. If I want to be a founder, I can do that. If I want to build like other applications, I can do that. So I would say in that way I've made it where it's like I'm in an industry that I love, get to do whatever I want, and kind of have a lot of different pathways that I can take in the next steps moving forward.
All right, brilliant. So what's next for you?
What's next for me? Boxing. After racing, then round 2 of boxing. Hopefully Solana goes to 1,000. I don't know. But yeah, I'm more active in angel investing now. So I do like trading public markets is my biggest thing. That's how I did well in crypto. Now I'm doing angel investing. So helping to support founders that I think are building cool apps in crypto. That's a big piece for me now. I'm talking to a lot of founders. And then Bullpen is like probably my other big thing. And I would say the third thing is Ansem Media, which is like, I do Twitter, I'm active tweeting nonstop all the time, but I'm not active on YouTube, not active on TikTok or any of those other social channels. And I think it's really important there to also have distribution in those other channels if you want to get as many people into crypto as possible. So that's what I'm working on with Ansem Media is like building out the video content and all of that. I want to do more educational stuff for people. Kind of the same thinking of Bullpen. Like I want people to get into crypto, give them some tools to learn about crypto. I think video content is really good for that. Like short stuff. This is how you set up a wallet. This is how you get your like OPSEC set up. This is how you like set up all your 2FA with your exchanges. This is what's going on today in the market. All that like relevant information for people. Because I look at crypto 24/7. But if you don't look at crypto 24/7, there's absolutely no way you're up to speed on everything that's going on. So yeah, it's those the 3 things, I think.
Final question. What alpha can you share with our audience?
Alpha. My alpha is, what's my alpha? Like the way you last long during bull markets and bear markets is, I would say 2 things. The first thing is like portfolio allocation. So you don't want to be 100% in the riskiest altcoins like all the time. You don't want to do that. I would say you want to have like 70% of your portfolio in safer things, which is like, for me, it's like Solana, Coinbase stock, like Bitcoin, also like Prime, which is like the parallel, the gaming play. Those are like my 4. It's like, okay, I'm confident those long-term are going to do well. I have good entries on them from bear. I've dollar cost averaged into them over a set amount of time. And I'm pretty confident during the bull market, I don't really need to touch those all that much until I think the market is like fully topped. And then with, I would say the other 30%, it's like, that's my degen port. So like perps and all that stuff, on-chain stuff, micro caps, memes, and you kind of can be more actively trading that. and spin that up. And then it's like when you make a ton of money or hit on one of those big plays, you roll that back into your safer portfolio. And then what's the second thing? Oh, I'll say the second thing is like you need kind of high time frame indicators or like signals for when you want to get out of the market and when you want to get in the market. Because it's really hard when everybody is super excited and euphoric and at the bull market highs. It's like, okay, when do I actually sell some of this stuff? Same thing at the bottom. It's like everybody's depressed. Everybody's talking about crypto's going to zero. How do you stay grounded and be like, okay, this is when I need to start getting back into the market? I think a few different ways that you can do that is like usually like moving averages, literally tracking trends that way, and just like a ton of different high-level signals. I would say if you want to read like a book on TA, a good book is Technical Analysis of Financial Markets by John Murphy, and that'll give you like your base layer, everything you need to know about TA, for just like generally looking for what it looks like when the market's top and the market is bottom. But yeah.
Are there any final words you want to share about Istanbul, Crossroads, your work in the industry, Solana?
I mean, my biggest thing is like if you aren't currently in crypto and you don't have a strong opinion on crypto, definitely like look into it and talk to people and see like where like you could fit in, where you could learn what you learn more about. I think like whether you're a developer, like business development, marketer, trader, whatever you are, there's room like for that in crypto now. I think right now is really the best time for people to get into crypto, especially because it's been like stamped as this is actually something that's not going anywhere with the Bitcoin spot ETF getting passed. A lot of these TradFi, people are going to start allocating money in the same way that they allocate the stocks to crypto now. So it's like right now is really I think the bottom for attention in crypto and how people are viewing the space, especially coming off of FTX and SBF and all the like scams and stuff that happened past cycle. We're still like kind of coming back off of all that happening. So it's like the perception is shifting now, and I would say is the best time.
It's great to hear that you're very optimistic and positive about it all. And thank you very, very much for making time to speak to us. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.